What's going on, guys? My name is The Fallen Knight, and today I'm going to show you a brief video on the human towers. First things first, we have the Tier 1 towers. The Tier 1 towers are the human's basic towers, and they upgrade into all the other towers. They appear in the early game and are very easy to juke out. The only way you can really get hit by them is if you walk in a straight or backwards line. However, as long as you keep yourself moving, the tower will not be able to hit you and you can take them out easily. They are so easily juked, in fact, that the slowest unit in the game, the Conjure. Real quick, guys, this is me in post-production saying that as I watched this video, I saw that I kept saying Conjure when the real name is actually Summoner. So for future reference, whenever you hear the name Conjure, replace it with Summoner. Thanks, guys. Is able to easily juke him out, and you could lob grenades at him and take him out. Alright, and next up we have mortar towers. Mortar towers are like the regular tier 1 towers, except they fire a cluster of grenades that hits you. Now they have shorter range, and they have the same problems as the tier 1 towers, which is they are very easy to dodge. Also about the tier 1 towers and the mortar towers, if you do not walk in range, they will not hit you. As you can see, I did not just miss that shot, I was demonstrating. But when you do hit it, they are very hard to find their blind spot. Now I want you to notice that I said they are very hard to find their blind spot, not that they have no blind spot. Because as you can see, if you can get close enough to the tower, you can run up to the structure and use it as a shield to block you from the fire. As you can see here, I take no damage except when I expose myself. Alright, next up we have shock towers. So what shock towers do for the game is they provide an interesting layer of defense that you have to combat around. As you can see, I cannot shoot at the shock tower with my projectile, and I cannot shoot around it. So you have to find a different approach when you have to take these out. Now, one of the easier methods to do is to just pop a sacrifice, walk up to it, and stand next to it because they are very vulnerable to sacrifice. You cannot, however, melee the tower because you will take damage and it will kill you if you try to melee it. Usually about 2 to 3 hits depending on your unit. Interesting though about shock towers is projectiles don't seem to count towards the Conjurer. So another way you can do it to take it out from long range is just be the Conjurer and take it out. As you can see there, it went down easy. So last but not least, we have shield towers. So on their own, shield towers pose basically no threat to you. If you want, honestly, you can just walk around it and ignore it. It'll make the game a lot harder to you because you will have to deal basically double the damage in order to take down a building. But on their own, they pose no threat. But because of this, they should be your first priority target when sieging a base. But on their own, shield towers are really useless. You can walk up and melee them, you could ignore them, you can hit them with siege, you could pop a sacrifice, you can take them out any way you see fit. Alright, so now that you've been introduced to all the towers, we're going to do some basic math problems to help you take them out. So how do you solve this problem? I'll give you a second. And your second's up. So if your answer was take them out one at a time, you are halfway correct. As you can see here, I start shooting it, and I can juke out one tower easily. And I'm able to take it out if I really wanted to. But whatever you do, do not step forward, because if you walk into 2 mortar towers, you cannot juke them, and you will get wrecked. So what you have to do is take them out one at a time by standing outside of their range and playing a siege unit and just sniping them. You could also try to walk up with a sacrifice and a mistshroud, but I would not risk that because there are 2 towers and it's just a lot harder. Okay, go ahead and try to solve this problem now. Done? Okay, so let me give you the answer. So first you guys might think, well, I'll just take out the fire tower first, then I can move on to the shock tower. And then you remember, the shock tower blocks projectiles, so you can't just use your gun to take it out. And then you also remember, you can't walk too close or else the mortar tower will start hitting you. So what do? You can't hide behind cover because the mortar tower will hit you. You have to back off and rethink your strategy. And then you remember, the shock tower does not block siege units, and the Conjurer does count as siege. So you go back, respawn as a Conjurer, start lava grenades at the shock tower, and then you would take it out and then start pushing your lead against the mortar tower. Because once the mortar tower is isolated, projectiles now work on it. And as we covered earlier, you can use long range to take him out very easily. All you do is sit back, lob grenades at it, and then when it finally does go down, you push your lead. Alright, why don't you guys try to solve this equation now? Solve for x. So what you probably try to do is subtract shield from both sides, and then you gave up because math sucks. And then now what you're going to do in game is start lobbing grenades at the mortar tower, and then you remember the shield tower reduces damage from all structures. So you have to change your strategy. But you remember the mortar tower has no defensive capabilities, and you're easily able to take off the shield tower. Once the shield tower is down, the mortar tower is exposed, and you could easily take that out, as we discussed earlier. Since you guys are so good at solving these problems, I'm going to go ahead and give you a harder one. Alright, pencils up, heads down. Alright, so you guys finished? What you probably should have done is seen that math sucks, take out all the numbers. And then you realize Greece has no economic GDP, so you set that thing to 0. And then you realize that you can't divide by 0, so this whole equation is busted, and you're just left with a bunch of towers that are going to go down. See, isn't math fun? Alright, but in all seriousness, let's go over how to take out all of these towers and seize the enemy base as a beast. So for this example, the enemy team has all 3 towers up, and what I'm going to have to do is try to take out their base. First, you're going to try to take out the shock tower, and then you realize the shield tower is the really big problem. So you're going to aim all of your siege weapons at the shock tower, or the shield tower, sorry, because it goes through the shock tower. And once you take that out, you can go ahead and push on your lead. Also, another way to take out bases easier is while the enemy is over there fighting, you can go ahead and try to flank around with a sacrifice mist shroud, try to run in the base and take out the 2 towers in the back, that is the shield tower and the shock tower. This is very risky, however, and normally there'd be enemies all over me by now, but since this is an example, I'll just show you. And then once you have the shield tower down, you can take out the shock tower with siege very easily, and that should serve no problem to you. And then now that the shock tower is down, we're going to take out the mortar tower, just like this. And since the mortar tower can't hit us from this far of a range, we just sit here and lob grenades. And then once that's down, all we have to do is push our lead and win the game. Alright, thank you guys very much for watching. I'm sorry about my upload schedule. I have school, classes, and other priorities, but I will try to get a video out once every 3 days to a week, so be sure to check in my channel by then. Anyways, thank you guys for watching again. My name is The Fallen Knight, and please, get out of my face.
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Welcome to the real world.